Hi there, welcome to I Alone Fly Tarot. I'm going to do a tarot card reading for Gemini energy, and we're going to do this 10 card spread, and we're going to read it from a couple different perspectives because everybody's at kind of different emotional maturity levels. You know, we all have our dualistic nature, we have our more shadowy nature, which can be tempering our ego, learning lessons in life. But, some people are more all about themselves, can be bossy, controlling, rude, immature, egotistical, just have illusions about what it means to work together with people in friendships or relationships or workplaces. And, some people have a lot of growing up to do. And other people have learned those lessons. And how they're going to harness this energy will be different because kind of their fears, their insecurities, their pride, their ego, their immaturity. So, anyway, this might be something that's particularly something that could be going on. Well, it is going on in Gemini energy, but it might influence more people who are a Gemini sun sign, moon, rising, or have significant Gemini placements. But just like all the other zodiac signs, we all tap into our heart, our mind, our 3D nature, our creative passion nature. Gemini's air sign energy of the mind. We all have a mind. We all have thoughts. And Gemini can represent our dualistic nature and that we have the free will. Are we kind of more aligned and still more caught up in the world or ourselves for things we look to be the answer? Or have we been illuminated to the truth that love is the answer? And have we learned to love ourselves? So let's go see what's going on in Gemini. I view this as the overarching reason for the reading. And since it's not showing itself, it can just talk about the fact that, with anybody that we're in the world with, we can harness this energy differently. And it's to kind of try to get to know if we harness this energy in the same way. Because it might be something significant that in our Gemini energy we're dealing with right now. What is it? The Seven of Wands, which is Leo energy. Again, do I defend my more egoic nature, defensive nature, worldly nature, about myself nature or something? Or am I inspired by love and I stand up for that? And, some people could. We start out with the Two of Wands, which is I have a dream. At the heart of the reading, we have the Ace of Cups. I want to have a new beginning. But why? People could want a new beginning, like a new job, a new friend, a new relationship, because it would be good for their ego or their image, or they'd have someone to indulge in a relationship with. Some people want to do love. And at the end of the reading, we have the Three of Wands, wanting to take action to try to bring a dream into reality. It's just, again, what is the driving factor? Well, then we have, the Two of Wands and the Emperor, the Death card, the Four of Wands, the Ace of Cups, the Page of Cups, the Eight of Pentacles, the Three of Swords, and the Four Swords in reverse. So I view these four cards, the 2, the 3, the 4, and the Emperor, as Aries energy, which we all tap into Aries energy. And again, in a more shadowy way, it can be, I have a dream of looking like a boss in the world, male or female. I want to look like I have a certain status, image, power, or I want to be in a relationship with someone who I think I can dominate and control. Shadowy people would more want to be in a relationship with someone who, Leo energy can be that they're attractive or they're charming or they shine bright in the world in some sense. Maybe look victorious or successful in some way. Even if they're loving, the shadowy people are looking for someone more to control and manipulate. High vibe energy in high vibe Leo is you're being authentic and loving. And if you view other people as authentic and loving, you would probably want to be in a relationship with them. Well, shadowy people like to be in a relationship with people who are authentic and loving. They might just hide that they harness their Leo energy in a more shadowy way, which can be oh, by the way, I am a little bit more about getting in the relationship for these other reasons or how it benefits me. And it's not really motivated and inspired by love, but I'll make an offer to invest in you. All shadowy energy is creating an illusion. That's shadowy Leo energy. I'll try to create the illusion that I'm motivated and inspired by love, but it's really because it's good for my ego and my image. I have someone to be in a relationship with. I look like I've healed, I've grown, I've matured. I look like my dreams are coming into reality. But they have an ulterior purpose, and other people could have a dream. They are an emotionally mature person, male or female. High vibe, the emperor, means that people have went on these journeys in life, and Aries energy is also represented by the Fool card. We've all went on all these different journeys of life to learn lessons, and we've come in contact with all these different types of people in the world. High vibe people learn some lessons during their life. They did grow up and mature themselves. They tempered their ego. They went through some of the stages of life that everybody went through. High vibe emperor is like, I have the four suits of the deck, which represent these different elements within myself. I have my heart, my mind, my 3D world, my creative passion, nature. At different times, I could have thought one, two, or three of them was the most important thing. I could have let my heart run my life. Oh my gosh, I love them. And then the other aspects of your life kind of went in the toilet. You could have gotten up in your, I don't know, maybe being wild or crazy or wanting to go indulge in all these things of the world. That's like in your fire sign energy. You kind of went and did all that. And the other aspects of your life kind of went in the toilet. And you kind of learned that, oh, it's about balance, because high vibe energy is about being balanced. We have our dualistic nature, and in our worldly nature, there's these things of the world that we want. But if we equally want to enjoy some of those things of the world, but we also want more just, fair, balanced, loving, authentic relationships, then we need to temper ourselves and grow up and mature ourselves if we want to be in a relationship with other people who've done that. But there's always the people who think, no, I don't have to do that. I can just create the illusion I'm that type of person. And some of those people do that. But the thing is, if you are more immature, if you are more selfish, greedy, lazy, prideful, immature, self indulgent, eventually the high vibe people, if it's in a workplace, a family group, a friendship group, eventually some of the people are going to figure out the truth. Right now, people with at least some of the people in their life, some people they already know. Those people in the death card, they already cut those people out of their life. And if the shadowy people were in a relationship with someone who is more loving, and that person kind of became illuminated to the truth of who they are, yeah, they didn't want to be in a relationship with them anymore. Because they only want to be in a relationship with people who are caught up in the illusion of who they are and haven't seen through the illusion. And the people who are in friendships or relationships or workplaces with people who they kind of realize those people weren't who they said they are, those people have already probably cut some of those people out of their life. But then there's always other people in our life that we don't know. We know we could want to change. Everybody could have learned, like, oh, some lessons. But, there can always be other people we're not sure if they're being more authentic, if they're kind of more full of themselves, if they're creating an illusion or not. And even the shadowy people are trying to figure out, do you really love and believe in yourself or don't you? Are you kind of more caught up in me or the world? Because if you are, I'll get in a relationship with you. But if you kind of more love and believe in yourself and I don't think I can manipulate and control you, well, then I'm not going to get in a relationship with you. And so if some high vibe people got out of a relationship of some sort, you know, previously you were in something that you thought your dreams were going to come into reality, and then that didn't turn out, you know, because you have a dream and in high vibe energy, you love and believe in yourself, which some other people maybe didn't know that in high vibe Leo, you do know how to love and believe in yourself and kind of give yourself the things that you wish other people would have given you. And you are willing to detach from those jobs, friendships, or relationships. If people aren't willing to work together with me, high vibe energy is being just and fair, treating other people the way you like to be treated. If it's a romantic relationship, it's supposed to be based on love, not some other reason. And so, and some people could be communicating to some people because the masculine cards in tarot can represent that people are taking action. And when we go take action in the world, it's considered masculine energy. And again, when people go present themselves in the world and take action out in the world, we don't really know how they think and feel because we can only see what they're doing or what they're saying. And then the feminine figures to talk about how people really think and feel. So, a lot of different people in the world right now could be presenting themselves as these very mature people. Like, you should hire me. You should go into business with me. You should promote me. You should date me. You should marry me. You should be my friend. And some of them are just thinking of doing that, but they might have to get out of something first. And so the people who are already in something, whether a job, friendship, or relationship, some of those people could be thinking still, and some of them are taking action, that there was something that they thought was going to maybe move forward victoriously and successfully in whatever way they wanted it to go, high vibe or low vibe, and it's maybe not working out the way they think. So, and even if it could be some people just within themselves, because that's where it starts first. And Aries energy is about the self. It starts within us first. Do I love and believe in myself? Do I believe I deserve love? Do I believe I deserve? Here, kind of at the end of the story, we have the Eight of Pentacles and the Three of Swords, which can be putting in work and effort to get balance within myself, to get justice in my life, to work with other people who are more balanced and more just and fair. Do I believe within myself, and am I inspired within myself? The Four of Wands can be like a foundation, but it can be a foundation of self. Am I inspired within myself to emotionally detach from some old ways of living life or viewing life that at one time I could have thought seemed like I was living the dream? That would be really fun. Or to be defensive, or make my life more about me or more about the world or things I indulge in. Am I willing to detach from my more egoic view of life? I kind of view the Four of Wands as firing on all four cylinders because we do have the four suits of the deck. And I think for the first 30, 40 years of our life, we're pretty caught up in the world. And we put work and effort into these things that we think will make us happy. But, again, we've got these lessons learned. It's like, if we're kind of not really, if we're rejecting parts of ourselves, like, oh, I don't have to do love, I'm sure it'll be fine, I'm going to enjoy being in relationships, I don't really have to do love, and oh, I can get in a relationship with someone, if I love them but they don't really seem to want to do love, it'll be okay. But then, you can be the Three of Swords and say that you're kind of heartbroken. It's like, I guess it is important. And if I am working together with people and those people want to stay in a relationship with me, but maybe I kind of find them emotionally immature, or in their water sign energy within themselves, in their Cancer, Pisces, and Scorpio nature, they're kind of more about indulging their more immature nature and being about themselves, and they could turn their back to love. And then I'm in a relationship with someone who really isn't very loving, and then I'm heartbroken. Or if I'm in a relationship with someone who's more about themselves or bossy or controlling, whether it's a job, a friendship, or relationship, shadowy Scorpio could be that, they don't really like to do more deep, meaningful relationships, or again, maybe they can be intimidating or controlling. act like a private detective in a relationship or kind of on the narcissistic tinge. I can love people in my life, and we probably all can think of some examples between brothers, sisters, mom, dad, our own adult children, or neighbors or coworkers. I can work with all sorts of people. Do I want to be in a more involved relationship or spend more time with them? Can I wish them peace and love and joy? Yeah. Some of those people I don't really want to hang out with more, and some of those people really don't want to hang out with me more. Because kind of in our fire sign energy, and Scorpio is also water sign energy, emotionally, the things that kind of drive and motivate us, and um, my truth versus your truth, is different. And with most of the people in our life, we can be like, we can acknowledge it. We don't have to say it. I mean, you just know, yeah, you kind of live your life like this and like doing those things. I kind of like to live my life like this and I like to do these things. And we can all see the truth of that within everybody and all these different people we know. And with a lot of people, we can still wish each other love, still kind of work cooperatively with a lot of those people in our life to some degree, but you're going to do you and you're going to invest in things that you think are just and fair. And I'm going to go invest in things that I think are just and fair. They're aligned with my truth and my idea of the dream life. And you're going to go do yours. And with most people, we can wish each other peace. It's kind of how I view the Page of Cups. You do you. Yep, you do you. You know, but it's harder when it's someone who we really wanted them to work with us, and maybe they had been working with us. It could have been a long-term friendship or relationship, family member, and then it's like in the death card, it can be that, I don't know, it seemed like there was kind of an emotional disconnection, and it's like, why? So, high vibe energy is people who aren't operating more from their ego. Those people want to work together with them, so they are inspired to offer people love. I don't understand. Why aren't we still working together? And, they, in the high vibe Page of Cups, can be, I have that hopeful believing spirit. And if I owe you an apology, high vibe people are willing to apologize. The more prideful or stubborn or egotistical or whatever and shadowy nature that some other people are, they might not be willing to do that. And for some of them, that's why a relationship ended. Because they could owe someone an apology. But shadowy energy, high vibe energy again, in high vibe Leo, is being willing to get out of your ego and your defensive nature to be willing to come together with others in joy and celebration and love, and to be willing to be more authentically yourself and vulnerable, and be willing to admit when you maybe acted in a shadowy way of some regard and you owe somebody an apology. But some people didn't realize maybe how they harness their Leo energy in a shadowy way, and they're kind of quite prideful and egotistical and stubborn. And they're not willing to do it, even if it means that they're going to turn their back on some people who they could even know are loving. But the truth is, you can get along in relationships with people, but maybe they were never planning to ever be more authentic, come out from behind their defensive egoic nature and let their more authentic, loving nature out to play. And that can be people, male or female, who've decided I get hurt doing love, I'm not doing it. I will be in friendship and relationship with people. I will do my best to treat them the way I like to be treated, but I'm not going in high vibe Scorpio. They harness a more shadowy Scorpio. I find it confusing. It might get me all up in my head, get me all up in my emotions. And they might be people who never really invested in themselves kind of emotionally. It'd be like someone who never invested in going out and working in the world. Well, whatever age they are, say they're 45, and then it's like, oh shit, something goes on in their life. that they thought their dream was going to be coming into reality. And now maybe they'd have to go out in the Eight of Pentacles and go get a job. Well, that can be really scary, right? And some of those people might be like, oh, that's so scary. I might just go try to get in another relationship so I just don't have to go get a job. Well, just like some people didn't invest in working through their fears and insecurities or getting some job experience, some people didn't invest in high vibe Scorpio. We are emotionally complex human beings. And some people just decided, yeah, it's confusing. I am an emotionally complex human being and I don't like it. So I'm just going to kind of keep that aspect of myself kind of buried beneath the surface. And then that can be where they decide within themselves that I am going to love operating more from my egoic nature. And I'll kind of use my emotions here and there as I need them, but I don't really think they're that important. You know, just shadowy Scorpio could be, which anyone can harness. I'm kind of going to use them kind of as I need them, but not very much. I don't want to delve into them. And that can be shadowy fire sign energy that people can harness. Isn't being in a relationship having sex with people? I'll have sex with people. I could do all these things in a relationship that make it look like love, quack like love, but other people feel like they don't have a high vibe Leo relationship where it's like a deep, meaningful, authentic relationship. It kind of seems more dead and superficial and shallow, but everybody could want to keep staying in it, and they could want to keep staying in it. It works for them. I don't know why you'd want to leave. And it's like, because I wanted to work together with people who were more inspired to be more authentic and high vibe energy motivated by love is you kind of are freely willing to give of yourself. And emotionally, you know how to fill your own cup. That would also be like high vibe Leo. You know how to replenish yourself. You know how to love yourself. So you can freely give to others. Your cup of love kind of overflows. And other people haven't learned to love themselves in a more high vibe way. It's kind of more about being about me and my self protective nature, or just making it about more about me. And that is how they view life, and they think it's just and fair, and it kind of is. Everybody has free will to live their life the way they want, and if that's what makes them feel more stable and balanced within themselves, they just need to find people who are maybe on that same page. But for the people who think they can hide their more authentic defensive nature, some of those people, if not happening right now, they one could have ended and they're trying to move another one forward. If they don't get in a relationship with someone who kind of feels that way also, odds are as time goes by, this pattern is going to repeat itself. And the people who are motivated to work in a more balanced self awareness, self insight, in a more just, fair, balanced way. But then, in order, you authentically have to have worked through those issues within yourself. Like, why do I do that? Why am I defensive to love? Why don't I trust other people? Why do I think it should be more about me? Why do I justify being bossy or controlling or immature? And why do I think people should indulge me that way? Until they work through that, again, it's the illusion of being more balanced within yourself, but they're really tipped more out of balance. And I do view the sevens as kind of the tipping point, because there's the 12 zodiac signs. You kind of got majority rules. And, you could work through where some aspects of you, this makes logical, practical sense. I love this person or I like this person. But, if the majority of a person that kind of rules and the emperor is kind of the ruler of our kingdom of self. And if within ourself we're more motivated and inspired to keep doing life the way we've done it, not wanting to offer love to ourselves or the past to free ourselves from it, because the death card talks about death and rebirth. I'm going to look at those things that manipulate me so I can free myself from it. High vibe energy is being more independent of things that used to manipulate you. But that all does take a lot of work and effort in the Virgo Eight of Pentacles card. And so some people could start, but then they could lose drive and motivation because, our shadow nature, kind of at the big picture represented by the devil. Well, I could do that or I could do this. And, shadowy energy can be, our shadowy nature, like the devil would whisper in our ear. You don't have to do that. You don't have to temper your ego or your fears or your insecurities or deal with your past pain and heartbreak. You don't that's an option, but you'll be fine. Just do this. Just keep repeating this old pattern. And it's just that possibility of who people could grow into, that and people they could have worked with in that energy, those kind of become a missed opportunity. That energy within them is just sitting there, like their own high vibe nature's heartbroken because their shadowy nature is more in the driver's seat of their life. And then they could have more high vibe people in their life that are heartbroken because they see that they're manipulated by whatever: lust, greed, pride, ego, codependency, immaturity, self indulgence. And they would like to have a dream come into reality, but they see the truth. If I can only have my dream come into reality with other people who the truth of why we want to move forward in it is kind of the same. And if it's romantic, it should be love. And again, some people have already went through that. Some of those people are already emotionally detached from it. And the high vibe people didn't want to keep staying in their ego about it and their heartbreak. And so they made the choice, free will, within themselves. I'm going to offer love to the situation. If we look back at our life at different stages of our life, when we were living life, whatever way we were living life, and we could have had some adults or parents or older people in our life, like, why are you doing that? I don't think this is going to work out the way you want. And, but we are where we're at. It is how we view life. It's what we think is just and fair. We wouldn't keep spending time, energy, and effort into it or going and indulging in those things and living life that way. And that's, you could be the same age as some people, say you're both 35. Well, just because people are 35 doesn't mean that they've grown up and matured themselves or have healed or healed from past pain and heartbreak or learned to love themselves. And then the truth is that there's some people in the world that they don't think that's their job. That's why they get in relationships. That's your job, or whoever they get in a relationship with. I don't have to learn to love me. Maybe if I put work and effort to kind of look like a boss in the world in some way, like I put work and effort to look like the Three of Swords is Libra energy of the scales of justice, which can be I look like I have it kind of going on in the world. I could be attractive. I could be charming. I could have money, status, image, worked on my physique, whatever. I know all these sex positions or something. Whatever it is that people think they got, or social clout. Well, I don't think I have to really do love because I think because of these certain traits, characteristics, and attributes that I have, I think there's going to be people in the world that are going to want to be in a relationship with me. And maybe there's other people who don't love and believe in themselves. And maybe they're more about being in a relationship to be in a relationship, or for the status or the ego or the image, or indulging in it like me. And then I'll work with those people. And we both think it's just and fair. And we have no interest in looking at life maybe any differently. To the Four of Swords and reverses here. In high vibe, it would kind of mean like reflecting on the truth of what's just and fair. But at any stage of life, the way we're living life, it is kind of just and fair because that is how we view life. What's unjust and unfair is for people who know that they have their way of viewing life and they know other people have their way of living life or viewing life and their ideas of what is just and fair, and they try to impose theirs on others to try to stop those people from kind of like you give up your dream and you make yours more about me. And that can be this whole thing of, trying to change people. And that's kind of what the high vibe people come to also. I might not like what some people did or how they acted or how they behave, but if I just think it's easier if some way you can kind of correlate it to something within yourself, and it still can be really disappointing, in the Four of Swords reverse that you can't heal a relationship with someone because, again, you kind of find out that your truth is different. And, you know, just like you could think some people in your life are bossy and immature, or controlling, or full of themselves, or whatever, right? Those people in turn could have people in the world that they also view that way. It is kind of relative. We deal with all these different people, and people are at, you know, kind of different emotional maturity levels, and we all kind of pick and choose. That can kind of be the Eight of Pentacles, the things that kind of make up the things that are kind of important to us. Some people would be willing to put up with someone um, that might have some shadowy traits and characteristics if they, you know, if it seemed like it works by worldly standards. If that is kind of, or like, even if they maybe didn't love someone, because some people could love someone else, but they're in a relationship with someone who might love them or indulge them, or that person has more of the things of the world that they want, even if they could know that's not my truth, but those things are, in love. Those things maybe aren't my truth, but because these other things that make this up are more important to me. And for some people, it's like, well, it'd be great to be in a relationship maybe with some other people, but I am kind of more about myself. And I'm in a relationship with someone who they might love me. I might not necessarily love them. I might even be kind of sad working with them. But when I take everything in the big picture of kind of what I want, this has more of the things that I want. And again, am I willing to sacrifice love? Or am I willing to sacrifice having a more just and fair and balanced relationship? Some people could get in a relationship with someone who is more bossy and controlling, but that person could be heartbroken, and if somebody just wants somebody to be in a relationship with them who they don't think will ever leave, and they could think that's good for their image or their status, again, it's like being in a relationship with someone for some other reason other than love. I don't want anybody to ever leave me. I'm too prideful and egotistical to have somebody leave. And I think this person maybe I can control, or I think this person is sad or will never heal. I don't think they'll ever love and believe in themselves. Yay, I'm going to marry them. you know, I mean, it just can be hard to wrap your brain around what drives and motivates some people. But some people like to be in more codependent relationships. I like you to be codependent on me, male or female, where I do seem like the more mature, stable, grounded person, and maybe you're more codependent. Wonderful. Let's be in a relationship. And oh, by the way, if you ever do heal, then I don't want to be in this relationship anymore. I don't want to be in a more just and fair and balanced relationship. And if you do that work within yourself, yeah, this relationship's over. Because I like this type of dynamic. And even people in friendships can like that kind of dynamic, you know? And sometimes you don't know that till later. Well, I liked it when you were the one kind of indulging me and you were always the one putting in the work and effort. And it could have been just like a relationship. It could have started out where, again, people can get spoiled in a relationship and they start to think, you do put in all this work and effort. You must really love me. I must be like really great. And then they think, loving people are a dime a dozen. I'll just go find another loving person. Because you might kind of have noticed it kind of got a little out of balance there. And it seemed like I thought you were being loving to me because of who I was, not just because you're a loving person. And then I like that. And then I think I deserve it. And you should keep loving me. But then they become a little bit more about themselves. And then as the relationship goes by, you kind of realize, like, I kind of feel like if I don't put in work and effort to kind of maintain balance within this relationship to kind of keep moving it forward, I don't know if it would. Well, then why am I kind of putting in work and effort with someone who doesn't equally seem to be putting in work and effort and is motivated by the dream as me? I could go get in different friendships with people and they could go do that with someone else. So some people did, some people are. They're like, you know what? I wish you peace. I've kind of worked through, which can take a long time, while a person is in a relationship, to work through this decision because they could have tried over and over and over. And it never seems to get more balanced, or the other people keep not seeming to kind of want to see the truth, and you just kind of accept our truth is different. And out of love for myself and you, I'm going to stay in the energy of love, but I do have a dream, and this might work for you, or you might have gotten out of a relationship with me and gotten in a relationship with someone else. I accept the truth of that too. My dream can only come into reality with people who are willing to work with me, and you're not. Okay. And I'm going to offer love to it to get out of my ego, and I'm going to focus on the future. And the Three of Swords comes after the Two of Swords, which we could have felt kind of stuck. It's like, well, do they, don't they? Should I, shouldn't I? So that's where I think high vibe people don't want to be in regret. I'm going to speak my truth in love, humble myself. I don't want to feel like I didn't, but you don't have to speak your truth in love. You say it once, and that's the Page of Cups. Doesn't have to be angry or forceful or whatever. I'm just going to speak my truth, and then they have the decision to do what they want to do. In the meantime, I'm going to keep putting in work and effort to maintain balance within myself, and I'm done trying to keep healing this relationship, because you probably already did put a lot of work and effort into trying to make it work. So it's kind of letting go of that foundation. And again, some people could be doing that within themselves right now to work through from the Seven of Wands, where we thought we were moving forward in something that we thought we were on the same page and worth defending, to letting go of that foundation. I don't see victory here. So it is kind of letting go of that old dream, letting go of that foundation, and doing this inner work is what Virgo energy can talk about, to heal and accept the truth. And then you start putting in work and effort into your dream. And there's a lot of things that make up our dream again, right? I want to feel stable and grounded within myself. I have a lot of things that make up my dream, my idea of things that, and it could even be investing in myself. and growing and healing and maturing myself, investing in my own unique talent, skills, and interest, investing more time, energy, and effort into the people in my life who I think harness a more high vibrational Aries, water sign energy, Libra, Virgo, and Leo energy. And I could have been putting more work and effort into people who harness those in a more worldly, shadowy way. Oh, and of course, that is reflective of their Gemini free will nature of their truth. And I'm going to keep putting in work and effort with those people. And the people in my life right now that I am working with, if there's some people in my life that, it seems like we have completed a stage of life, or a phase of life, and we're kind of ready. Some people could be getting in to a new relationship or foundation of some sort for whatever reasons they're doing that and how they think it will benefit them. Some people got new jobs, new friendships, and they were looking for more authentic, maybe stable, grounded, balanced, emotionally mature, loving people. And if you're in the process of doing that, and some of you already did, you already found that new job, new friendship, new relationship. Other people are just going out to do that. Shadowy people can try to manipulate people and even be hurtful to people. I am putting in work and effort to hurt that person. Why? Because that person either saw through the illusion of who I am, or that person isn't indulging me. And then the reason they could do some of the things that they do is just to hurt someone else. And the other people they get in relationships with are just pawns in their game of trying to feel powerful. Look at me. You didn't want to indulge me. Well, I'll show you. I'll go get in a relationship or align with these other people or do these other things and turn my back to you, and you'll be sad, and I'll be showing you I don't even want to heal a relationship with you. It's like, great. And why are you in a relationship with the people you are? Well, for that reason. Wonderful. Eventually, the people you're in a relationship with might see the truth of it, and they don't want to heal a relationship with you or be in it anymore. But that can be us being more about ourselves. Well, I want this and I want to accomplish this. And so that could be shadowy energy. I'm just going to use other people because it's really just more about me. And I don't really give a damn about other people. And I'll be with them for as long as it works or as long as it serves my purpose. And then when I decide I'm done with it, then I'll go shadowy Scorpio. It was really just all about me anyway. At any time in our life where something didn't work out the way we wanted, and then we, are moving forward in our life, at any time in our life, we have to see if what we're moving forward with is still in alignment, right? And people could leave one job, friendship, or relationship, get in another one. And then as time goes by, it's like, again, we didn't we could have taken action more out of pride and ego or defensiveness. The other person could have, or again, just over time, people could kind of see the truth that, hey, I really liked you, you really liked me. We could have been kind of on the same page at the same time, and we could have been loving and encouraging and supportive of each other. But the truth is, kind of now, how I want to move forward. And we could have all helped each other kind of get in touch and heal and get more balanced. And then how do people want to move forward after that? or things could have kind of changed over the course of relationship with people. And it's like, it doesn't seem like it's moving forward the way it had been. And I'm not sure that I want to keep moving forward. And again, just like there can be jobs and, people could be in a job and the other people are like, it doesn't seem to be moving forward the way I thought. Or the employee saying, I don't think this is moving forward the way I thought. Or things have just changed over time, maybe as some people left the company and other people came into the company. And the same thing can happen like in a friendship group, right? It maybe doesn't stay static, and different people bring in new people that they know. And then, when one aspect of a dynamic changes, it does kind of change the whole dynamic. Even if everything were to stay the same, but during the course of that, whatever the relationship is that people are working together on, if one person works through some of their issues again, they're not the same person that they were before. And then that kind of changes the whole dynamic. And people are like, well, you used to be this kind of person. Well, now you seem to be this type of person. If they healed and grew and matured themselves, it's for their benefit, but still other people might not like it because maybe I was kind of able to be a little more bossy and controlling or intimidating. And maybe you weren't more willing to stand up for yourself, but now, damn, you kind of bossed up. And shit, that now I don't even know if I want to work with you anymore. I don't know if I want to stay at this job. Sometimes um, people don't even realize that they're in a foundation of how they were kind of manipulated by kind of shadowy people in the group or the workplace until someone else new comes in. And then it's like, oh, wow. And that person maybe really puts some work and effort and is motivated and inspired and more just and fair. And then the other people could be like, wow, I never really, now I can kind of see the contrast between people who might be more inspiring, more firing on all four cylinders, a little less more about themselves, or just here for a paycheck that they really do like their job, and seem to kind of that willingness to learn, you know, in order to learn lessons. That's kind of going to the next stage of life, is seeing kind of what we need to let go of in our more immature, egoic, or defensive nature. And then if somebody comes in that has that more hopeful believing spirit that isn't more defensive or more difficult to work with or something, that changes the whole dynamic. And then some people might be like, well, gee, I kind of seen what I've kind of put up with, right? So high vibe people are harnessing high vibe Aries energy. They might know some people who harnessed a more shadowy Aries energy, and high vibe Leo, and high vibe Libra and Virgo and Cancer, Pisces, and Scorpio. And they could have dealt with people who have those zodiac signs, and some of those people didn't harness those energies in a high vibe way, but you found out you do. And then you want to work with other people who do also. And the people who are more worldly and shadowy, generally it's to try to, they don't want to see the truth. And they don't want to maybe be more authentically themselves. They don't want to maybe get out of their defensive nature or their ego nature. So they're probably going to be more inspired to repeat a pattern of the past, being still more about themselves or repeating an old pattern. And they're going to keep investing in what's dead, because you're either giving birth to something new where you kind of like shed an old layer of yourself to give birth to like a new you, and that's like Leo energy, high vibe, also represented by the sun. Death and transformation to a way I did live my life and the way I used to view life and whatever, to give birth to like the new me, to just like we did going from 18 to 21 to 25. I'm I'm done with that old way of living life. I am ready to move forward, aligning, being inspired by my hopeful, believing nature to put in that work and energy to heal. I am done healing. It is time to move forward and detach from some of those old ways of being. And some people don't want to change. I don't want to detach from any of those ways of being. So they're going to emotionally invest in what's dead. It's like investing and looking to something to be the answer, but it's nothing's going to change. Because until they change, they can always try to get other people to change. But odds are, even if those people do change, then they probably wouldn't like being in a relationship with them anymore. You know, but they're not willing to change. And their high vibe nature and some high vibe people in their life will be sad. They had the free will to align with their high vibe nature and high vibe people in their life, but they don't want to do that. And other people accept the truth of it and they move on. What's coming up for some people who harness some high vibe Gemini energy that they might not see coming up? They're putting work and effort, listening to love and intuition to guide them. We have the Fool and the Seven of Swords. Why? Because of the Ace of Pentacles and the Queen of Pentacles. The high vibe people didn't want to keep investing in repeating that old pattern. Why? The Queen of Pentacles, when someone's holding, one pentacle, it can mean they did this inner work and they saw the truth. And they kind of healed and grew and matured themselves. And they're not the same person that they were before. And they don't want to keep repeating that old pattern. And they don't want to be in relationships with people who repeat that same pattern. And they probably offered them truth and love and encouragement for them to work with them to heal. And the other people said, nope, I don't want to invest in what you're doing. So, kind of in their Aquarius energy, the Fool is Aries. I view this as Taurus. And Taurus is about our philosophy of life that we have at any given moment. We view life the way we view it. We view things as being just and fair, depending on how we view life. And you harness your Aquarius energy differently. Shadowy Aquarius can be, I'm still more caught up in these things of the world and making my life about those things or indulging in those things. But now I've kind of been enlightened to the truth. High vibe Leo, being enlightened to the truth. And Virgo. And in high vibe Aquarius, now you're listening to your intuition. You know, the 5, the 6, and the 7 is all Aquarius energy. And what does this person have? This person is holding 2 swords here, and they have 3 swords in their back. Well, in their backpack. And it's like, I don't want to keep living my life that way. It got to be where I felt it was stopping me basically from accomplishing my dreams because I was maybe living more from my mind than my heart. But I did do this work to heal, and now I'm done healing. And the 2 of Swords can be I'm listening to my intuition. I have a dream, and I'm going to listen to my intuition. And the mountain here can be like, I'm not going to let anything stand in my way. I'm not going to let my own shadowy nature, my own fears, insecurity, self-limiting beliefs, and I'm not going to let people who are repeating an old pattern or not investing in me. I just see the truth that you're not on the same page. You don't have the same dream that I have. And I'm going to keep moving forward. And then you close out the cycle and you come out with the Ace of Swords. You need, working through that 3 of Swords, the 7 plus the 3 gets you to the 10. And when you're at the 10 in high vibe, you work through all the emotional confusion of it. And you see from like the 3 to the 7 and the 4 to the 7 that some people haven't healed, or what they think is just and fair is completely different than what you think. And you accept that. So you take back the Three and the Four of Swords. I accept the truth. I wish you peace. You do you. And I'm going to invest in my truth. And you're going on a new journey. When we learn the lesson we were meant to learn, we move forward in life differently than we did before. And there might be some people that um, will move forward with you, because as you reach out to people in your life and tell people, I learned these lessons, I got out of my ego about some things, grew, healed, matured myself, I'm moving forward in this way. There could be some people that will be like, I do want to work with you and I do want to work through this. And if we both healed, then you can move forward with those people. Because at any point in our life, we had to make these decisions in our life. We could have not spent more time or invested more time into certain friendships or relationships, or dated people, or got out of friendships or dating people to get in relationships or date other people. And some people aren't going to make you an offer because you've emotionally grown and matured yourself, and other people would be like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you saw the truth of that situation, and yeah, I would like to get to know you better. And I could have been sad when you went and got in a relationship or friendship with some other people, because I thought you and me were more on the same page and we could be friends or whatever. So, some people will want to move forward with you. Some people currently are moving forward with you. Other people, you'll meet new people, but you have no interest in repeating like a pattern that you felt was shadowy. Other people who detach from that pattern, that could be in this energy where we work through working together and healing, that is putting in work to bring a dream into reality. But the people in your life who you already know are kind of more about themselves and more immature or more emotionally shallow, or like to live more from their mind than their heart, or more worldly egoic based or something, you've already cut those people out. You already know you don't want to be in a relationship with those people. And I think other people who've moved on ahead of you in life, and they could have went through similar things, you know, it's like always waiting to see if other people come up the path of life who've learned some of the same lessons you've learned. And as you move forward, that's when you could meet, again, quit investing time, energy, and effort. Like, say again, you're in a workplace where people are shadowy. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna go get a different job. And then you go there. And those people have been like, oh my gosh, is anybody ever gonna come here and getting a job? And and they could be great people. Maybe some of those people wouldn't be people you'd get in if you're single, a more romantic relationship with, but you could really, it's like a whole new adventure you go on. And they are emotionally mature, loving and encouraging, supportive people. If there's someone there that you thought, dang, you would be a good candidate. You'll work through the fact like, yeah, I don't know, God's got a plan for my life, and apparently it's not you. So we'll just keep going on the journey. What's coming up for some people who harness some more worldly, shadowy Gemini energy that they might not see coming up? Oh, yeah. And so with this Fool card, when we listen to our intuition, I do think our intuition was given to us as a gift. And when we see things are kind of shadowy, you have the free will to stay, or you temper your fears and you listen to your intuition, because your intuition has your best interests at heart. And when you do that, it is like your higher self, you could even consider your high vibe Aquarius energy, um, wants to take you on this journey, but you've got to get out of your more egoic nature. And then you go on this new journey. And um, again, it can be very stable and abundant and nurturing and encouraging and loving and balanced. Could there still be some people in your life that, again, friends, family, whatever, that might not be kind of being encouraging or supportive? It's like, I don't know why, but that's for them really to figure out. and you keep staying like in an energy of love, you know. Sometimes some people just don't like that you love and believe in yourself, and their shadowy energy can be dealing with defensiveness or jealousy. Uh, now that you're a little different, they can't manipulate and control you, regardless of who it is. And it's like, well, see you at Christmas. What's coming up for some of the shadowy people they might not see coming? The Eight of Wands and the Queen of Wands. Why? Because of the Hierophant. Well, their philosophy of life in their Taurus energy of the Queen of Pentacles that they have, they're always kind of more inspired by their ego, shadowy Leo energy. And they maybe don't understand why other people don't want to go indulge in what they want to indulge in, or want to stay in relationship with them, because they, again, the Hierophant and the Queen of Wands can be that people look very victorious and successful or attractive or whatever they got going on, right? And they don't understand, they seem to have those things that people of the world want, and they can maybe not understand why it's not working, but it's probably because some of the people in their life are a little more high vibrational, and it's not necessarily, we can be drawn and attracted to people, and we can like some of these aspects of the world. We all like stability and security and enjoy some of the finer things in life. But if you have to move forward with someone who isn't being more authentic, maybe full of themselves, stubborn, bossy, controlling, immature, you know, the high vibe people eventually are going to move on because they love and believe in themselves, and they harness this energy in a more high vibe way, which is being inspired to get out of their ego nature and high vibe Taurus walk the talk. If I'm going to go out in the world and present myself as a certain type of person, that's who I really want to feel like I am within myself. I am being authentic in the Page of Cups. And it might cause me some inner conflict and stuff for me to go out and present myself like, oh, I love these people. I just love hanging out and doing this, when I don't. Oops, got an alarm on my phone. Oops. I really, high vibe energy is being free to live your authentic life. Do I, is there a part of me that could have had a hard time leaving some of that? Yeah, there's a lot of things I could like about it, or I just like the friendship or the relationship and the community, and I could have love for those people. But if I'm not able, high vibe energy again, and high vibe Virgo, and high vibe Leo, and high vibe Aries, and high vibe Aquarius, I want to be able to live my authentic life and be independent, respected as being my own individual. And shadowy energy can be more conforming to the world. We have to look a certain way, we have to act a certain way. The most important thing is that people view us a certain way, and we have a certain status and image in the world. And I know we like those people, but let's not talk to those people, because if we talk to these people, it'll look more whatever. And it's like, how about you go talk to those people, and I'm going to go talk to those people because I enjoy their company. So it can be a lot of superficial, not shadowy Scorpio, superficial, shadowy Taurus. It's more about the ego and the image and the status and how people view you, and that shadowy Leo. More trying to create an illusion in the world and trying to control and manipulate how people view you, and high vibe energies being illuminated to the truth. People are going to think and feel about me whatever way they think and feel, and based on the type of person they are. I could be the worst person, I could be the best person. There's some people, no matter what I do, I'm awful, because that's just the kind of person those people are. So I'm going to wake up from the illusion of it, and I'm going to just go live my life, and the world can judge away. And I'm going to go out in the world in high vibe energy, treat other people the way I like to be treated. Not going to try to manipulate and control people, be deceptive or manipulative. I just want to get along with people. And the people who that's not good enough for, I wish you peace. No, I might not be wearing or acting or playing certain social games or whatever. or think you're God in my life and, oh, everybody else kisses your ass. Well, I hope you enjoy them, but I'm not going to hang out over here. Um, and you just got to live your authentic life and find the people in the world who seem to enjoy being more authentic too. Anywhere on the socio-economic spectrum, you know, there's all sorts of wonderful people at all different stages of life that we could learn so many valuable lessons from and that we could have deep, meaningful relationships. Doesn't mean everybody we get in relationships with are people we want to have a more involved relationship with or date them or marry them, but they can be people that we bring enrichment and encouragement to their life, and they could bring enrichment and encouragement to our life. And some other people are just like, I would never talk to those people, or I would never go to that event, or I would never. It's like, well, then don't. And I hope you enjoy your life. And what they find out is probably the more high vibrational people are going to keep leaving their life because they want to be in relationships with people who are more inspired by truth and love, who have hope and faith and belief in themselves, in others, and in love. And these people will probably end up being surrounded, and they're currently probably have a core foundation in their life of people that they align with that are more motivated, either full of themselves. And if everybody doesn't kind of realize that it should be more about us and let us manipulate and control them, then they have to go. Or they're all about just living more superficial, shallow lives and driven by their ego, not very authentic. And that's the kind of people they'll probably end up in a relationship with. And maybe at some future point in time, they'll kind of realize because they think, no, this will make me happy. I'm sure this is the way to go. Or if I make it more about me, or if I try to control people, or if I have a certain status or image or money, I'm sure I'll be happy. That's all the things in the devil telling us this will make you happy. Do these things, make your life about these things. You don't have to grow or heal or mature yourself. You don't got to temper your ego. You don't have to be more just and fair. And they're sure that'll make them happy. And they'll probably move forward in something that does look very victorious and successful by worldly standards. But they might hide from the world that it is more for the ego and the image. But of course, they don't want people to know that. Trying to create an illusion that it's this authentic, loving relationship, but either they're heartbroken or the people they're working with are heartbroken, or they're both unhealed, they're both imbalanced, but neither one is willing to leave it because it does have the status and the ego and the image, and they do get along well enough. Maybe both codependent. But that would be a just and fair relationship. If that's where they're at, that's where they're at. But quit trying to get people to give up their dreams and be heartbroken in a relationship with you, and that the way you're living your life isn't their truth, but you kind of don't care because it was really more about you and your dreams anyway. So there you go, Gemini. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.